Right, so we've got a new season in Disney Speedstorm, and I usually do these on like the first day within the first couple of days of the season coming out, and mainly because it's a big news, it's a big like gaming news week. Um, I just haven't been able to get around to doing my first impressions on this. So instead of this being a first impressions video, this is more gonna be along the lines of along the lines of I've been playing this for a week now. Or the season has been around for about a week now. Do I like it? Do I not like it? How is it? How is it kind of shaping up? And honestly, it's kind of just more of the same. Uh, just use shards. Unfortunately, just more of the same. This game is getting really difficult to get excited about. I will be completely like upfront with that. The game is getting really difficult to get excited about. The what I will say as a positive, Captain Hook is a free unlock at the end of the month. I mean, with by the end of next week, by next Thursday, you will be getting, if you've gotten all of the Captain Hook shards from this tail event, which it's not difficult. Milestones are very easy to get. That's 2. And then this event is another 2. And then obviously you're going to get 2 shards guaranteed. You have 2 guaranteed shards at the end of the tail event anyway, so that's 6 shards plus the 5 shards at day 14. Pretty much everyone, if you're coming in consistently enough, if you're coming into the game consistently enough, everyone is getting Captain Hook. And that is kind of where the positives end for me. Like normally, the new track would also be a positive. But I'm going to jump into the new track and just show it off. it's difficult because like new tracks are always going to be the most exciting thing because it's something every it's something every player can it's something every player can experience no matter what. Like they're going to be free for everyone, so you may not be getting like the new characters, but at least you're getting the new track. I don't. But as far as tracks go, Neverland is weak. Neverland is a bit of a weak track. I'll be completely honest. That being said, I really do like how they've done Captain Hook, and I think he's probably going to be the character of the season. And he's the one that people are going to be getting free. What the fuck? But I do like how his skills work. And he feels like a better, easier to play Hercules. He feels really fun. But unfortunately, I just find the track a bit boring. There isn't really ironically, there isn't a hook to it, in my opinion. I don't find it that interesting. Maybe that's a personal thing because I'm not that emotionally invested. I don't have a lot of nostalgia for Peter Pan as a franchise or as a character. I mean, my biggest exposure to Peter Pan is probably through Kingdom Hearts. Um, but yeah, I'm not the hugest fan of the film. Uh, yeah, I don't, and the character I just find kind of annoying and a bit creepy. Uh, I like Captain Hook as a villain. That's probably about it. But I don't think it's one of Disney's best films, and certainly not one of the. It's certainly not one of my favorite from era of, um, that era of Disney films. I would always choose to watch Robin Hood or probably just Robin Hood over Peter Pan. Plus, Robin Hood doesn't have any offensive stereotypes towards Indians or towards Native Americans. But like my personal grievances towards Peter Pan as a movie aside, I just don't. Yeah, I don't find the new track that exciting. I find it kind of boring. New characters you will be experiencing until like Captain Hook. You will. I'm glad that people will. I'm glad that there at least is one character that you're going to be able to play as for free. It's just really frustrating seeing the decline of the game where, the tracks are the thing to get... The tracks are the things to get excited about, but they've put out a track that just isn't that exciting. And I mean, not all of them are going to be. Not all of them are going to be, and, it kind of is dependent on, your mileage may vary dependent on how much nostalgia or how much love you have for the property. That being said, just for me, and even outside of it being based on a movie that I don't necessarily have much fondness for, I just think it's kind of not poorly laid out, but it does feel very similar to other tracks that are already in the game. It feels very just bleh. It's just we're gonna put some trees here. It's colourful, sure, it's got a rainbow in it, but I mean the most quote-unquote cinematic thing of the track is you take a grind pipe over a pirate ship. Imagine if you went through the pirate ship. I think enough of the film takes place on Captain Hook's ship. Heck, the entire climax of the film takes place on Captain Hook's ship for you to justify having sections on the ship. I would have even blown up the ship and had a majority of it on the ship. You don't go to the Lost Boys hideout. It just seems very generic, where all of the landmarks from the film are things you see in the background, and what you're driving through is just a weird, pseudo jungle-ish. And, we've already got two other jungle-themed... We've already got two other jungle-themed levels. Or two other jungle-themed tracks. So, unfortunately, as far as, first impressions to this season are concerned, mileage may vary, but for me, this is very weak. I also need to mention probably the most egregious thing. I'm going to open this just because why not? Most egregious thing. Okay, come on. I didn't mention this last season, but the change to Universal boxes, they can now give you duplicates on crew member shards that you already have. Which is criminal to me. Because this is already an expensive box. Right? And imagine pulling these and getting frickin' the Field Mouse twins, or getting a whole stack of this was my way of catching up and getting previous characters, because this shop is just, outside of what's free, this shop is just too expensive. 320 premium tokens for one shard. for one Mr. Incredible shard. 200 premium tokens for one Tigger shard. That's why I've been just priced out of getting new characters, just because the shards are less common from here, even for the characters that are labelled as common. Imagine, double the amount of difficulty to get a seasonal character is to get a mid-season character. But that's besides the point. This season has introduced super carts. And, yeah, sure, this box exists. And, most of the time you're going to be getting... it's just another thing to use premium tokens on. And it's it's either use premium tokens, which you have to pay money for, or pay £40 for, who's doing this? Who's paying £8 to get 5% to get a fifth of a super cart? You might as well just do this, but that's beside the point. I'm not going to say pay money. I feel like the game is just becoming really egregious, even more so than usual when it comes to expecting people to play or expecting people to pay money and asking people to pay money for severe jumps ahead. And these super carts, I don't personally feel like they're doing enough of a job to push characters further, especially when last season, only a season ago, we got 6 stars, or we got 6-star characters, and that was a significant bump up. These supercarts just feel like, how can we rent players of more money? And that just really rubs me the wrong way. When people start getting their hands on them, I would like to know, are they a significant bump up? But for me personally, they just seem like another thing to pay money for. It's another thing to monetize. And I don't like it. I don't like anything. Anything that this game has implemented since Season 5 or Season 7, in my opinion, I would say has been a bad or, harmful integration. We're now on Season 20. I feel like every season has introduced something that has made the game somewhat worse. Supercharged... the supercharged event has gone. Supercharged events don't happen anymore. When a supercharged character comes out, they're now put in... Are they... Where are supercharged characters put? There's somewhere. But the supercharged events just don't happen anymore. And it's really bad when you can't even find where you can get supercharged shards now. And they've been pretty good at putting them in these passes. But, we shouldn't have to wait around for a character that had, supercharged available Really, they should put supercharged. They should put supercharged character shards into the Mickey into Adventure Tour or the Adventure Roads. This is where those rewards should live, because the rewards here are terrible. But that is my piece on season 20 so far. I don't think my opinion's going to change very much, if at all. Unfortunately, I don't feel like Gameloft cares about improving the game. Gameloft only cares about getting as much money out of this game as possible to put into other things. Because I don't know how... People must be buying the stuff. Because why would they see it as even worth investing in the game and putting new stuff into it if people weren't supporting it and buying stuff? It's really, really weird to me when I'm seeing pretty much all that I'm seeing in Discords, and comments have been turned off on the Disney Speedstorm YouTube channel, which is really telling. I mean, they've put it as made for kids content, but I feel like that's more so. But when you think about it, the game has monetization. The game has gambling elements. Even if the subject matter is for kids, technically. This is nothing to do with the season. This is more so me just having a thought process, and this is more me just trying to work something out for a second. Pirates of the Caribbean, I'm going to use Will Turner as the Pirates of the Caribbean example. When Kingdom Hearts 2 came out, they had to make the game a 12 because of Pirates of the Caribbean representation in the game. And the same with the sequel, they had to make that a 12 because it had Pirates of the Caribbean in it. Pirates of the Caribbean is a 12 or a PG-13. So as long as Pirates of the Caribbean is in the game is technically a 12. Technically. The game is at an MSRP rating standpoint a 12. So you cannot categorize it as made for kids, in my opinion. So the Disney Speedstorm YouTube channel categorizing their videos as made for kids, when you add in that there is a representation for a movie that has blood in it and alcohol in it, when you couple that with the fact that there is monetization and gambling elements in the game and in-app purchases in the game is not for kids, in my opinion. Subject matter, yes. Disney, yes. Monetization, gambling, a movie that is aimed towards a teenage audience or young adult audience being represented. You could argue Tron as well, less so, but you could argue Tron as well. Yeah, I feel like the decision for the Disney Speedstorm YouTube channel to take away comments and to make their channel for kids is less because it's Disney and less because of the content of the channel, and more because they don't want to listen to critique. They don't want to listen to criticism. I will caveat that with, if that criticism verged onto harassment and death threats of people working on the game, that is not cool. Do not do that. just, don't do that. But I have a feeling, just because of looking at the conversations in the Discord, and maybe I feel like maybe their YouTube channel, their YouTube comments could have verged onto harassment. Maybe that, because there is still a Discord that is still very active, very vocal, and, there is still a lot of conversations about things that are not going well in the game, and there's a lot of criticism for the game in that Discord. So, maybe the YouTube side, because I know people in YouTube comments can tend to take things too far sometimes. I've seen it in my own comments as well. And I'm only a very small channel, but I've seen people take it way too far in my comments. People probably took it way too far in theirs. And that's why they had to, do it. But I do think some of it could be, we don't want to listen to criticism. And from what I've seen of what they've done to address criticism, which is Sweet FA, I have reason to believe that they just don't want to hear it. Because everything that they've said, which has started with, we've heard your outcries, we've heard what you've wanted, we've heard your complaints about the leveling system being too confusing, we've simplified it even more. No one is complaining about the leveling system. No one is complaining about that. You just want more money at the end of the day. But anyways, that is going to be it for my first impressions, quote unquote, 1 week in of season 20. And this is my kind of like state of the game so far at season 20, because it's a pretty big milestone. And I mean, fair play to Gameloft for getting to this point. It's not a great way of getting here, but fair play to them for sticking out 20 seasons and sticking out, 3+ years now. All of the complaints aside, 3+ years, 20 seasons, that is a big milestone. That is a big thing for a game in 2026. Would I have preferred if this game didn't have a season-like structure at all? When I'm looking at something like Sonic Crossworlds, which did have that season pass, but it was included into, a special edition of the game. It was a separate purchase that was like, you get all this content for a year, or you get all this content for the first, you get all this content that will be put into the game over the next year, 2 years. and you pay a little bit extra for the game for that. Would I have preferred this game to have that kind of model? Obviously, but you can't grumble with the game that you wanted. You can only grumble with the game that you've got. And as much as I don't like a lot of the shady practices around the game, I do have to give some kudos for having the longevity that this game has had, and for sticking it out and apparently and still introducing new stuff as well. Like the Adventure Road, I think, is a good game mode, and I think it has a place. I think the rewards need to be worked out a little bit, but overall Adventure Road is a step in the right direction, because it is like evergreen content that you can keep going back to and you can chip away at it, and it is a reason to keep coming back to the game, and it's a reason that you will always have something to do in the game every time you log in, because Adventure Road will be there waiting for you. Outside of that, a lot of icky stuff. There's a lot of icky stuff, unfortunately. But I do have to say congrats on making it to 20 seasons. Hopefully things start to, get into an upward trajectory. Post this point, I would love season 21 for Gameloft to start listening to people and just, the free character shards on the calendar is technically a step forward. Supercharged shards in a calendar is a step forward. The calendars are the step forward. I would like 2 more steps forward to maybe put even if this end one, instead of it being a season box credit, even if that was Fozzie Bear shards when you got to the end of it, I think that might even be a good step forward, or a step in a direction that could be leaning towards positive. Anyways, I've been rambling for 33 minutes. I don't know if I had a point. I kind of went off in several different tangents. I apologise for that. But anyways, if you enjoyed this video, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, hype the video, whatever that friggin' means, and if you are even able to. But yeah, I will see you guys in the next one. Hopefully you enjoyed. Peace.